All right, my friends, welcome to the show again. What you guys don't know is that I just recorded this whole episode and I realized I didn't have my microphone on. So I'm re recording it, and you won't see that first version because that is now in the trash can. You guys, welcome to another episode, a Derks Financial client update. Today we are talking about all of these very important monthly data numbers, jobless claims, uh, inflation claims. What was the other one? New job openings, not just jobless claims, but new jobs and being filled and all that. So, if you guys were to Google search some inflation CPI, here's what you would find. You'd find some headlines that say inflation rates ease to 4.9% in April, less than expectations. CPI report shows inflation eased in April. CPI inflation falls to under 5%, smallest. Okay, so great. Things are getting a lot better. Inflation's going down, right? All right, it's time to celebrate. But you guys look at your grocery bill. You guys look at your restaurant bill. Inflation isn't going down. What these people are actually completely being dishonest and lying about, inflation is not going down. Inflation is still rising. It's just rising a little bit slower. And we're still, even if it actually did go down a little bit this month, we're still so elevated from where we were 1 year ago, from where we were 2 years ago. And don't forget the most important part. Not only is this lying to you about what's actually happening with inflation, but as we've been talking about for months now, we've been talking about this for going on 5 months now. Back in December, 6 months ago, they changed how inflation is calculated. So you see, let me look here. This is inflation over the last 5 years on consumer prices. Inflation, oh, hang on. Inflation it used to take in the last 24 months of data, the last 24 months, and then it would report how much it's increased or decreased. Okay, so that's what I've got highlighted here. That's pretty drastic. We'll pull it right here. No. That would be, I'm sorry, 2021 right here. That's a pretty drastic increase, right? Well, what they changed back in December, as we've talked about many times on this channel and many times on these episodes and in the comment section, in December they changed it from 24 months. Gosh darn it, I'm sorry, from 24 months, which I have highlighted here in blue, to just 12 months. Now, doesn't that look a lot more attractive? This looks a lot less scary and frustrating than this. And that's why when we go back here, you see these really serious numbers of 7 and 8 and 9% inflation. And then when inflation was changed right here in December, oh gosh, look, we're on the downtrend. Things look beautiful now. And again, it's just another political trick. Um, so when you do that, then you can get a lot of articles and news headlines that kind of disinform, if you will, misinform or mislead people like that. It's so unreal. So the bottom line, inflation is not seriously going down. We're extremely elevated still over the last couple of years, and not only that, but government spending is still exploding upward. Let me give you a few good comments, and then I'm going to get into the fraud that is jobs, because we had jobs reports come out last week. People celebrating, but again, it's not what it seems. Hang on one second. Here is a really good comment from this guy. Again, this was a Reddit post about the CPI. Guy says this little back and forth was really great. Don't forget that the criteria which generates inflation data was recently changed. And oh shoot, yes. This guy says, isn't it based on last year's CPI2? So it's a 4.9% in reference to the already elevated 8.3%. And so then, man, you guys, I apologize, because when I messed this up earlier on my first recording and I had to reopen this stuff, I totally missed. Well, anyway, no, I have to find it. So you just have to be patient with me for one moment. This really good explanation right here. Okay, so here's a really killer explanation on this thread here. This guy says, had to pop in over here to comment after seeing the New York Times say it's the 10th straight month of declines in inflation. Guy below him replies, lies. Inflation only declined if the number is negative. Going up slower is not a decrease. But then he does say, I'm bad at math. It looks like inflation is actually the highest. So regardless, though, this guy right here breaks it down the best. And sometimes that's just how the internet works. The comment section is the best place to hang out and really understand what's going on. Listen to this. Inflation is seriously bad. If something costs $100 in April of 22, right when COVID came out, you multiply it by 1.042. Then you multiply by 1.083. Then by 1.049. Those are the 3 years of inflation increasing for the 3 years since. And that same $100 item is now $118, effectively an 18.5% increase since the pandemic. Based on year-over-year time frame, inflation did decrease and decline and decelerate. However, based on the since the pandemic time frame, inflation is high, persistent, and still increasing. Something increasing or decreasing is a direction, or in physics, it's a vector. It doesn't mean that it's negative or going backwards. So, like this, if you start from sea level and you hike up a 3,000-foot mountain and then decline down 100 feet, your ass is still on the inflation mountain. You are nowhere near close to swimming in the deflation ocean. And this guy below says, my grocery bill seems to agree with this math. And that's the truth, you guys. Like I said, sometimes you have to go into the comment section to really get the truth. But this is how, a lot of this misinformation happens. Now, here's what's really important, okay? Very, very important key thing to think about here. CNBC article, we saw this a second ago when we were looking at headlines on Google News. Inflation rate eases 4.9 in April, less than expectations. Sounds great, right? But look at this bullet point. The consumer price index rose 0.4 last month, pushed higher by rising shelter, used vehicle, and gas prices, like three of your most needed things. The increase was in line with Wall Street expectations. So then we scroll down here. Let's look. Key in. This paragraph. Shelter costs, which make up about 1/3 of the CPI weighting, increased another 0.4 on the month and are now up 8% from a year ago. The monthly gain represented a step down from previous month's increases, but was still indicative that a key inflation driver is rising. So essentially, it's still bad news for millions of Americans who rely on housing, gas, and their car. Um, Maybe some little bits here and there, like it's just food, these types of things. Maybe some other things. It says here at the same time, 4%, 4.5% jump for cars and trucks. Um, Food prices were flat. Energy increase. So, yeah, not good. Bottom line, CPI inflation, it's not great. You guys will know when your grocery bill starts dropping drastically. Now, on to jobs. As if the jobs thing wasn't bad enough. Last week, we got a killer jobs report. Oh my gosh, Americans are back to work. People are fully employed, and the machine is moving. However, look at this. Again, just like how everything else has been perverted, so have job numbers that you see every month. This is January's what they actually said. Now, here's how it works. First on day one, they will report the jobs number. About 7 to 10 days later, they will revise and say, okay, all the data is in. Now we know exactly how it worked. Don't you guys remember? I think it was November. I believe it was either November or December of last year, so only like 6 or 7 months ago, they had reported that there was like 190,000 new jobs added this month, and then they revised it to there was actually 200,000 job loss. It was like a 13,000 job loss. They were off by two. What am I? They were off by like 200,000. They were saying that there was like 200,000 new jobs, but actually there was like a 13,000 job loss. They were so off. So here's January. They said over 500,000 new jobs, and they revised it. Oh, okay, actually only 450. Back in February, they said, oh, there's 300 and some thousand new jobs, and they revised. Oh, actually only 250. Back in March, they said, oh my gosh, 250,000 new jobs, and then said, oh, okay, actually only 150. Now, granted, these are new jobs, so that's great, but this is a massive deception on you. So even though last week they said that there are probably good jobs or more jobs, it's not being honest. Also, the Fed told us this last spring that the overwhelming majority, the majority of these jobs that are being added are all Part-time jobs like working at Starbucks or McDonald's or as a restaurant bartender, and that almost the majority of them as well are also people getting second jobs or re-entering the workforce. These are not new jobs coming to America. Regulation going away, so new business owners or entrepreneurs can start new ventures. The majority of these jobs are people getting a second job. Okay. Now, with all that said, all right, with all that said, here are three different headlines in the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so that have come out. This one's actually about 4 weeks ago. And you tell me, do you think inflation's getting better? Do you think the jobs reports are getting that much better? Do you feel like when you look around that the country is getting significantly better? Because here are three articles. First, 39% of Americans say they've skipped a meal to make a housing payment. Now, if you look at the data down here, it actually does overweight. I think it was overweighted baby boomers in this, so it's slightly off, but still, um, growing number of Americans. And I'm not here trying to tell you that people are, like they say, breaking their pills in half or eating cat food or anything, but people are seriously sitting around trying to figure out how to make ends meet right now. Here's another one. This is from the Epic Times. Um, New bankruptcy filings soar across all industries as corporate filings reach highest since 2010. A total of 42,000 new bankruptcies were filed in March alone, up 17% from the 36,000 filings registered just 12 months ago, according to a data from Epic Bankruptcy, which provides U.S. bankruptcy court data. That marks the highest number of monthly filings since April of 2021. And then finally, again, that's not something that is a sign of a healthy economy when you have 40 and 30,000 bankruptcies per month. But again, highest since 2010. And here's the other one. Credit card debt in the U.S. is about to pass $1 trillion dollars. Average interest rate on that debt is 24%. This was April of last year, of last month. So you know that that is going to be increasing because the Fed has increased rates again. And again, here's that number right here. You look at 2005. This is really like 2001, 2, 3, 2005 here, 6, 7, 2010. Right after the banking crisis of 2008, 09. And then look at this. This is not a sign of a healthy economy. And in fact, I have seen a lot of people on Twitter and whatnot start talking about that buy now, pay later. If you guys see it when you buy something online and it says like, "Hey, do you want to make just 25 easy payments of $6 using Affirm or one of those services?" You know those. You see them all the time. We talked about this last fall that those guys were reporting last year, 2022, they had seen a 100% increase in people using buy now, pay later. And now I'm seeing this start to really trend on Twitter where people are seriously diving in and finally catching on that people are using those buy now, pay later things to buy groceries. And it's not just like one out of every 5,000, it's like one out of every 10 people, one out of every like seven people are using buy now, pay later. They're taking out debt to buy food. Not like we're going out to a nice restaurant, but groceries. Now, Ryan, who cares? Why are you freaking out about that? Because you don't take out debt to buy things that have no return. It's okay to take out debt to buy a home that will increase in value. It's okay to take out debt to buy a business that you're going to improve and have income on. It's okay to take out debt to buy a car if you think that car is going to significantly improve your ability to earn money and thrive. You do not take out debt if you're going to buy bread that you're going to eat that week and then you have nothing to show for it. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to end this right here. This has gone on long enough. I just wanted to show you a lot of this inflation and jobs data is still being manipulated and perverted, and I sincerely hope that we can see some stuff improve here. But reach out to me. Take care, you guys. See ya.